The Kansas City Chiefs have been a legitimate dynasty in the Andy Reid / Patrick Mahomes era. We're talking about a team that's been to 5 Super Bowls in a 7-year span. And really, 5 Super Bowls in a 6-year span prior to last year, which was a disaster. Andy Reid, 229 regular season wins. That's number 4 all time. 28 playoff wins. That's number 2 all time. And again, over the previous 4 years, they won 12, 14, 11, and 15 games. And then last year hit. What happened last year? Disaster for Kansas City. And it was a disaster well before Patrick Mahomes got hurt and tore his ACL. They finished the season with 6 wins. The offense didn't work. The defense wasn't as good. What do we expect for 2026? Let's talk about it. Teddy covers wagertalk.com with a Kansas City Chiefs team preview video for this season. And right now, I'm looking at the Chiefs line. It's a 10.5 win team, a little bit juiced to the under in that regard. When it comes to division odds right now, and of course, I'm recording this beginning of August. So the line's likely to move as preseason comes upon us, but Chiefs still favored to win the division, though it is the 3 teams pretty close. Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Broncos, all in a fairly tight window for the AFC West. Kansas City is certainly not the only contender in that division. That said, they are the favorites to win the division despite last year's 6-win season. What are we going to do with Kansas City this year? You know, there are some real concerns, and most of my concerns with the Chiefs are depth concerns for Kansas City. It's not like this team has a lot of frontline talent issues, but when you're paying guys, when you've been a dynasty and you've had to pay your quarterback and pay some of the other elite players, that can leave depth concerns for Kansas City, and that's my biggest concern about them this year. So, coordinator standpoint, Eric Bieniemy is back. And I'm not convinced that's a good thing. Look, Matt Nagy got run out of town last year. I get it. And he deserved to get run out of town. It was not an offense that would work the way it was designed to work. And Bieniemy's had success in Kansas City before. That said, he's dealing with a lot of off-field issues. And Nagy got run out of town. Bieniemy's been run out of town each of his last 3 stops. The Commanders in 23, UCLA in 24, the Bears in 25. I mean, he was good at the running back coach with Chicago last year. I should say he was run out of town there. But the previous 2 stops with Washington and UCLA, it was not good for Eric Bieniemy. It was not good for his resume. And a guy that was trying to be a head coach is now back in the coordinator position for KC. The big free agent signing for Kansas City, Kenneth Walker Jr. from Seattle. So they spent their money on running backs, which, again, when you talk about where do I want to spend my money back in the NFL level, it ain't the running back position. Kenneth Walker's really good, but the difference between one running back and the next is minimal compared to the difference between one offensive line and the next, for example, for KC. You have Mahomes coming off an injury. From all indications, he should be ready to go week 1. Will he be at 100%? Will he be vintage Patrick Mahomes? That's still very much a question, but he's likely to be. So if you're betting on Kansas City right now to go over their win total, you're likely to get Patrick Mahomes healthy and full season, in theory. It may take him a little while to get fully on track. I think we'll see him a little bit in the preseason, perhaps. Don't know for sure. The receiving corps for Kansas City looks thin. Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Taquan Thornton. It's talented. It's not one of the scarier receiving corps in the NFL. And there's not a lot of depth behind the starters and not a lot of proven talent, for Kansas City. That's been one of their biggest weaknesses in the last couple of seasons is the lack of the playmakers, the elite frontline guys who are going to score the quick strike touchdowns. And, of course, all the issues with Worthy and Rice. Both of them were high draft choices, and both of them had some off-field concerns, some injury issues. The interior of the offensive line looks really solid. No depth. Right tackle's a question mark. Left tackle Josh Simmons was last year's number 1. He's coming off an injury. There are some question marks about the offensive line, which, again, when you have a quarterback like Mahomes who's not likely to start the season with the mobility that he's had throughout the course of his career, an offensive line that has some concerns is potentially problematic for Kansas City. And again, we're talking about a team that's been so good for so long. You start to see the depth concerns over and over again for KC. Before I start talking about Kansas City on the defense side of the football, I want to let you know about the biggest contest in history. And that'd be the Splash Sports Pro Football Survivor. $21 million. $21 million. If I win, I ain't doing team previews next year. Promise. Well, I probably will anyway. I shouldn't promise that. I'm in the contest. Come beat me. Pick, survive, win, $21 million. Simple. It's a $1,000 entry fee. Splashsports.com/wagertalk. Password wagertalk is going to give you $100 to use on other contests or quick picks. The version of the single game player props thing. So again, splashsports.com/wagertalk. Password wagertalk. Get $100 back to use on other contests, and they're going to have a mark. This is the really cool thing about the Survivor contest. Not just the fact that it's available in 35 states and Canada. I know, by the way, it's not available in Nevada, but all I had to do, you got to drive across the border to California. It's less than a half hour. It's like a half hour from my house. Arizona's 40 minutes away. Sign up for the contest in a legal state, and then come play all year in your state. 35 states available, plus Canada. That's what I did. So even though it's not, or Nevada's not eligible, I can still play it because I signed up in a different state. You can do that too. Again, splashsports.com/wagertalk. Password wagertalk. Compete against me this football season. Let's have some fun. And with a chance at a monster payout when all's said and done. So appreciate your consideration when it comes to splashsports.com/wagertalk. All right. So Kansas City last year, their yardage stats were really solid on defense. Most assuredly were. But the difference, the issue, they didn't force any turnovers. They were able to keep teams from moving the ball, matriculating the ball up and down the field, but they didn't create the splash plays. Only 14 turnovers a year ago. Only 35 sacks a year ago, which was number 25 in the NFL. So the pass rush wasn't there and the turnovers weren't there. Now, they have only 5 starters back on defense. All right. Steve Spagnuolo cleared house this offseason. You say, they got rid of a lot of deadwood. Yes and no. I mean, the 3 secondary starters that they lost signed elsewhere for a combined $220 million. So somebody thought they were worth something, even if Kansas City didn't have the money to pay them anymore. And of course, you talk about replacing 6 starters on defense. We like Spagnuolo, obviously. We know how good this defense has been. We know this defense has been capable of carrying Kansas City when the offense hasn't been good enough. But this is a defense that lost a bunch of talent. When you talk about $220 million in free agency elsewhere, and they didn't create turnovers, they didn't create sacks. They also couldn't get off the field on third downs last year. They were number 29 on third down defense, allowing 43% conversions. What does that mean? That means teams were able to run the football against you a little bit. That means they were in third and short instead of third and long all a day. And this is a top 10 run defense last year, only 4.0 yards per carry allowed. And they still had those third down problems, which said, teams could grind out first downs against them and burn clock and keep Mahomes off the field. And I would expect teams to try a very similar approach in 2026. Burn clock, keep Mahomes off the field, wear down the defense. The big free agent signing, defensive tackle Tonga to pair with Chris Jones. I think that will help. The number 6 overall pick for Kansas City, the cornerback Mashour Delane from LSU. I think he will help that defense as well. And the first 4 picks were all on defense. Kansas City, draft-wise, quarterback, safety, defensive end, defensive tackle. This was a team that needed to put some resources on the defense side of the football, and that's where the draft went this year for sure for KC. Now, there are a couple of key factors for Kansas City I want to talk about when it comes to schedule. But first, I got to talk about my win report. We're going to go talk about the Chiefs going over or under 10.5 wins. I got to talk about what I've done with the win report over the last 25 years. I moved to Vegas in 98. I started betting full-time then. My first win report came out in 2001. I'm like, this is a marketplace that should be attacking and beating. And it won the first year. I'm like, let's do it again. Well, 25 years later, the win report 105 and 56 with 3 pushes, 65% over a 25-year sample size, 17 and 5 with my 5% big ticket plays. That's 77% over a 25-year sample size. Last year, this report lost. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. This report lost last year, and I've been pissed off about it all year and pissed off about it all offseason. And I'm not going to let that happen 2 years in a row. All right? Hungry, focused, spent the last 2 months working on the NFL. The Win Report up and available, as it is every year, right at the beginning of August, at wagertalk.com. Don't pay full price. Take $50 off. And this is the beauty of it. All right, you get the Win Report for $199. That's part one and part two. But my full season NFL is $5.99. That's going to get you the Win Report. It's going to get you every play from week one of the preseason through the Super Bowl prop report in February. Every play, every day, nothing more to buy, no bait and switch, no BS when you do with Wager Talk. Really, our customer service is second to none. Legitimately. Take $50 off the full season. Instead of $5.99, you can get $5.49. Use promo code Teddy50 at checkout. And again, that's going to get you the Win Report, the preseason, the regular season, the postseason, the Super Bowl, the props, everything I release. Let's partner up. Make some money this football season. Teddy50 at checkout. Get you that $50 off the full season package. Just at my homepage at wagertalk.com. You go to the direct, wt.buzz/TC. My numbers show, and again, when it comes to strength of schedule, I work on my numbers. And what I do is I go through my powering number for the week of the game that was played. And based on those numbers, so you don't get the end of the season, oh, this team actually stunk, when at the time they were supposed to be good, and we thought of them as good, and they were good, and later on they had injuries or whatever. Based on my numbers of their opponent power rating a year ago, Kansas City faced the single toughest schedule in the NFL. Number one in strength of schedule toughness. This year, not going to be as tough as it was a year ago. The 3 extra games, Indy, Atlanta, Cincinnati, all teams that are decent, but not elite. The AFC West faces the NFC West, and the AFC East, there is some cross-country travel for Kansas City that's not necessarily great. But after facing the toughest schedule in the league last year, and again, there were 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. They were up against it schedule-wise. They were up against it in every different way. This year should be better schedule-wise for KC. I'm not saying that their opponents are weak in any way, shape, or form, but I don't think this year's schedule is the toughest schedule in the league like it was in 2025. And that makes me leaning towards KC over. Andy Reid, when you talk about season win totals, he's been remarkable in that regard. And last year went under. Andy Reid hasn't gone under a season win total a whole lot throughout the course of his career, dating back to Philadelphia. Neither is Mahomes. With Mahomes expected to be ready for week one, and KC stepping down in class schedule-wise this year, if I'm playing the Chiefs, over the total. Is Kansas City going to make my win report? Check it out. wt.buzz/TC or visit wagertalk.com. Use that Teddy50 promo code. Take $50 off. And boy, we appreciate the comments, the likes, the follows. What do you think about Kansas City? Tell us below. And let me know if you like it or not. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day and stay tuned right here on this channel for more quality video content, more team previews, powered by Wager Talk. Cheers.